is going down. Isn't that beautiful natural lighting? Artificial lighting could never. I'm just finishing up client sessions, so I'm glowing. Thank you, boo. That's so sweet. It's that time of the day when I'm trying to stop drinking iced coffee, but I can't because I'm obsessed and I love the chocolate bean water. It tastes delicious, but it's not conducive for a healthy circadian rhythm. So here we are, trying to restrict myself. Hey, how's it going? Hello, Australia. You need this live right now. You're going through a breakup and you're feeling down. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Tell me it doesn't taste like chocolate. Tell me it doesn't taste like chocolate water. If your coffee don't taste like chocolate water, I'm sorry. Just come drink coffee at my house. Hey, how you doing? How you doing? Highly caffeinated. I feel that. I feel that in my soul. I think it's the only thing that's keeping me erect most days. It's all the caffeine shooting through my capillary system. It's probably not healthy at these levels. Like, you can't just start drinking iced coffee in the morning and carry it on the entire day. So the knee thing, this is what women loving women call when they are making out. And it's a thigh thing. Like, it's totally a fucking thigh thing. And I want to know who's doing it with their knee. I want to know who's out there doing it with their knee. Why are we calling it the knee thing? I just want to know. This is not like somebody's wrong or it's wrong for being the knee thing. That's not it at all. I'm just curious because it's totally a thigh thing. It's like you're making out, you take your thigh and you press it into their V. Like, for real. So you can feel the heat, you know? Sexy. So hot. That's a quad thing. Yeah. It is, right? You bend at the knee. Word, right? You don't stick your knee in there. Like, I feel, but they're calling it a knee thing. Like, it's mass, okay? It's like, it's a total lesbian thing to say the knee thing, and make TikToks about it. Like, oh, we're making out and it's the knee thing. Like, the knee is your leverage point. Like, that's what you're grounding. Like, if you're on top of somebody and you like bend your knee, you like press it in so you can like work your thigh because that's where you're grounded, right? Right? But the thigh is what's getting all the news, The thigh knows how hot the V is and how much, that's what we're communicating with, is with the thigh. They ride the thigh. Yeah, you're driving it with the knee. Maybe that's why, because the knee is like the vehicle for the thigh. But the thigh is getting all the communication, The thigh will have the wet spot. You were walking your fish when I was like doing my little trimming. So, honey, you put the knee down so you can work the thigh. And, usually they bend their knee so they can put their thigh up into you too. Now we have a mutual exchange thing going on while we're making out. It's hot. It's hot, but it's totally a thigh thing. Should probably make a TikTok about this. Like, why are we calling it the knee? Why is it a knee thing? Why aren't more of us talking about how it's totally a thigh thing? It's for sure the thigh. The knee is the leverage point. I mean, but now people are going to be curious, like, we're getting the whole leg in there. I guess it just didn't sound as good. The knee thing. Like, does that sound cooler than saying the thigh thing? Oh, maybe that's because people get tongue-tied. They're like, the thigh thing, the thigh thing. It comes out more clear when you're like, the knee thing. See? So if you get tongue-tied, like, it's harder to do that one. My girlfriend just experienced this the first time last week. Now she's addicted. It's so hot. It's super hot. The context is stellar. What one might do when Jay is, yeah. I don't know what you mean by that question. Oops, I slid that the wrong way. Okay. If we say the leg thing, it covers it all. What covers it all? I mean, you could go all the way down the leg with your V. Knee sounds painful. Yeah. You're not going to put the knee in me. I have a piercing. Like, that's going to pinch things. Like, we're not doing that. It is the thigh grind. Oh, yes, friend. The thigh thing could be like looking at, or other thigh things, right? We need context. We need to know what's going on. Yeah, you totally do it without thinking about it. Absolutely. My voice is low. Thank you. The thigh grind. Yes. Hashtag thigh grind. That's the new hashtag. We're gonna make it a thing, y'all. We're gonna run with it. Thigh grind. It's totally not the knee thing. But it is stellar. Whatever you call it. It is awesome. Love it. Faux thighs. Out of my comfort. Like TikTok business. It's the thyroid. Yes. It is. Yeah, less than a year. I love your videos. It's made me more comfortable. I love that. I love that you're more comfortable. Yes. Tell your friends. That's what we're over here doing. Thank you. I appreciate that. It feels good to be adored. Thank you. My hair looks good. Thank you. Y'all make a bitch feel great up in here. I've been conditioning the shit out of it. I've just been self-caring the hell out of myself. Feels good. Hello. Highly recommend it. Highly recommend it. Like, the sun's going down, y'all. It's getting like dark in here, and I'm gonna have to turn artificial lights on. Boo. You're engaged. Oh, hold up. You've been out less than a year. You getting cuffed. You getting married. Follow your happiness, baby. As a baby queer, I've learned so much. Your experience here is super helpful. Awesome. I love that. I'm here for all the so many great things about my body. I love that. Oh my gosh. This is like getting me hype, y'all. I'm like overwhelmed with excitement. I love your videos. Thanks for educating the baby gays. Hell yeah. I love that you guys are getting substance out of it. I was hoping that things could be conveyed in a way that you can utilize it, because it's hard to talk on here. I just want to say the shit. TikTok won't let me be great. I've been a fan for so long. First time catching you live. Hi, thank you for the support. I appreciate that a lot. Why do lesbians love dating straight women? Because it's for validation, honey. If you have sex with a woman and you know she's straight, there's a couple of things happening there. First of all, you think that's validation that you're so great. But what you're not acknowledging is you've just been objectified and fetishized, because this woman had sex with you knowing she has no inkling to want to get in a relationship with you. You are a sex toy, boo-boo, if a straight woman is objectifying and fetishizing you. That is not a relationship that you're trying to get into. In some ways, you're trying to orchestrate a non-relationship because you know in the back of your mind that this woman is not going to be with you. So you don't really want a relationship, but you want to play at one. But at the same time, you want to be validated. Like a straight woman sleeping with you means that you're like King Mecca lesbian or some shit. It don't mean nothing but that you got fetishized and objectified, honey. She played you. You got played. Take her side. The biggest crush on you. You're so articulate, so clever. Thank you. That's so kind. I feel this. I know so many women I've dated that only like straight. Of course, they only like straight women because they don't really want a relationship. It's like falling in love with somebody who's not available. Like someone who's in a monogamous relationship and you start pining at them. It's because you really don't want a relationship, boo-boo. You put that boot on your neck on purpose. And you want to sit there and put yourself in like a prison that you made for yourself. It's like when you know that you deserve better, you stop doing shit like that. But like really, this is self-esteem issues. I'm a dominant heavy switch. It's hard to find a switch willing to dominate. Any suggestions? You want to watch for people who have personality characteristics that align with that dominant energy. It's tricky because you want an assertive, confident person who's not insecure. So I know you just shrunk your dating pool like way down, but when you're looking for quality, that's what happens. You don't get 100 pennies, you get 4 quarters. So it's a lot harder to find. Yeah, no problem. Let's see. I did 2 years of therapy before officially coming out and being serious not to hurt someone. No, that's beautiful. It's beautiful. Insecurity is a huge turnoff. It's a big no for me. I have 0 tolerance. Not like, humans are fallible. That's without a doubt. But if you are so far down on the, I've not been working on my insecurities at all, like I can't even talk to you. Like we can't even be friends. Like you're not acknowledging the mistakes that are on you, boo. We don't have anything to talk about. Long distance relationship, spicy times. Order some, so reading erotica to each other is one of my favorites. Like when you're in a long distance situation. So like you can order, there's one called Wet. I like Wet because it's true stories. I like the context of reading it and knowing, oh, this shit went down. So that's a good one. It's a collection of short stories. So there's just like 3 or 4 pages. So you're not reading like an entire chapter to each other. But then you're like, if one of you orders one and one of you orders another one, and you're like reading these to each other on FaceTime. That's fun. Because then you can discover what kind of kinky shit that you like to say to each other. Because if you say things that you wouldn't have thought of when you read it in the book and like you see your partner's reaction to it. Fucking love that shit. Big tears and the emotional damage I've received from being in. Yeah. Oh yeah. My straight friends would be like, oh my gosh, it's so much easier to date women. I'm like, bitch, it is fucked up over here. Like, women have a high rate of relationship trauma and trauma in general in different array. So it will impact the brain in different ways. And you'll end up with a lot of people who have heavily manipulative tendencies when you are up against a group of people who are a high percentage of trauma. It's just the reality of the situation. So you have to start screening these people on a date. Like, okay, have you ever been to therapy? Do you plan to go to therapy? And I know that's a privilege, like having therapy is a privilege, but it's like, you need to ask the people that you're dating, in what ways are they working on themselves? And if they don't have anything to say about that, you just might want to eat your appetizer and go. I mean, that's just the way it is. Like, you're going to have a relationship with somebody. You need to know what they're doing to be self-aware and be cognizant of the space that they take up and see if they're the type of person who bleeds on people who didn't cut them. Because you don't want to sign a lease with this person. Yeah, and they're not doing the work, then it doesn't matter. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, just eat your appetizers, and split it and be like, this isn't the vibe for me and I don't want to waste your time. It's so, time is priceless and you can't get that shit back. So if I am more comfortable alone than with you, then I'm probably not going to sit with you. Here's the conversation was like, yes, so eat your appetizer and go. Like, just you split it with them, go, Joshua, split this bill. This was nice. I know the energy that I'm looking for. This wasn't the vibe for me. Have a nice day. You've been single for 6 months and you're nervous? I think you're just nervous, boo. Like, there's always going to be a little nervous. It makes you pay attention. Like, when you're nervous, you pay attention, just like tune out. So like, use that, but use it in a curious way instead of a self-judging way. Instead of thinking about all the things that could go wrong, and putting yourself in a future situation that isn't even happened yet, you could use your imagination in the other direction and be curious about what could happen, and just being open-minded and wary to the point to where, you're going to sit with this person and ask yourself, I feel comfortable around you? because that's your sign, you know? Because if you don't feel comfortable around them, that's a sign. And you should listen to it. Because when your body whispers and you listen, it'll keep talking to you. But if you don't listen when your body whispers, it'll start to yell. And then it'll go quiet on you. So listen. You want to talk about deathbed? Are you talking about lesbian bed death? You think it's weird of me if I see an ex-partner on a dating app and my heart sunk mainly because she told me she'd rather be single than anything? I'm wondering if I'll ever be good. I think that's a normal reaction. Just feel your way through that. I think fear has me stuck. Yeah, I mean, it'd be like that. Yeah, talk about lesbian bed death. Okay, sure. So, yeah, you're just dealing with a fear of rejection. I'm just going to finish this last one up. You're dealing with like fear of rejection. And if you had a parent who has had any narcissistic tendencies, then you likely have that loud voice in your head that's like, will I ever be good enough? You gotta, it's hard, but you gotta like sit with that and work on it. Trying to get out there and date. Oh, low-key hard. Because it makes you nervous. Fear of rejection is really hard and heavy. So, yeah, if you have a narcissistic mother, there's a book specific for that. It's called Will I Ever Be Good Enough? Daughters of Narcissistic Mothers. That shit'll make me cry by page 16. But anyway, read that book. It's great. Lesbian bed death. There's a bunch of reasons why this happens. And of course, you're going to have to talk about the patriarchy to talk about it. But, and you can read about that in Down Girl by Kate Mann. I mean, it's just the reality of the situation is that a cis heterosexual man is the default system, and anything coming off of that is, you know, marginalized in some way. So women, we're raised to respond. That's what we're raised to do. We're raised with less autonomy. If you were a baby and you were born a female and you have vulva, like if you tried to reach down when somebody changed your diaper, they likely either smacked your hand or said, you know, and don't do that, you know. But if you had a little eggplant and you reached down for it, they likely were like, haha, you know, he found his thing, haha, you know. And this is like a more soft and warm greeting to you reaching down and discovering your body, as opposed to having a vulva and reaching down and being met with, don't do that, that's not yours, and that's nasty. So what could that do to an entire society? Well, it could make them internalize that they don't own their bodies, and then psychologically, females are more apt to wait for something to respond to. So if you get two women together in a relationship, there's two people waiting for something to respond to. They've had two people with responsive desire. Nobody ever strikes the spark. The fire never gets started. So what's the resolve to that? You have to plan it like you would anything that's important to you. Anything that you want to prioritize in your life, you get your planner out and you write it down. So if you find yourself experiencing lesbian bed death, get the damn calendar out and write, we're going out for dinner on such and such day. And when we get done with dinner, we're going to come home and take a shower together. We're going to play Twister together. We're going to have a deep conversation together. So you're not planning sex. You're planning the things that fire sex up. So stop thinking about it as like, oh, I'm planning to have sex, because everybody already goes to that place in their head like, oh, I hate that. It's already making me feel obligated and bogged down. No, I'm planning an evening to do the things that make me want to have sex with this person because I care about having sex with this person. So do the spicy things so the fire gets started. But yeah, like you have to also, you know, with the things happening, you're like, oh, why the hell does this happen? And it's like, yeah, women don't initiate because they were never programmed to do it. It's not because we can't. It's just the things that you're programmed to do, they become neural pathways in your brain. And if you want new neural pathways, then you have to do new experiences. And that's neuroplasticity. And that's your power. And you can use that anytime you want to. You don't like the way things are going. You're not a stone. Move. Like, do something different. Thank you. Worried about his wife would allow it, even if she wasn't wanting to. Yeah, I always like argue against doing things out of eagerness. Like if you're just enduring something, like don't endure. Enjoy. And if you don't enjoy, talk about why you don't enjoy and find about what you can be doing together that you both enjoy. Because there should never be one enjoyment and one enduring. That creates resentment. That's all that does. How do you become an initiator experiencing trauma? Hang on. Where'd my book go? I think I put it back on the shelf. If you struggle with initiating, you want to get this book. Don't get just Come As You Are, get Come As You Are workbook. So you want the workbook. So you'll notice it like it's smaller. Come As You Are is like thick. So you want this, and you don't have to have Come As You Are to have the workbook. You can just get the workbook. It's totally fine. You're going to go to page, let me find it, dog-eared it for y'all, because this is a really common question. It comes up a lot. I don't know why when I make TikToks about it, I don't get that many views, because I'm like, this is the thing everybody wants to know. Okay, so you're going to page 154, and, oh, I got a hand cramp. Oh, weird. There's 5 different initiation styles, because context is important to being turned on. Under the right context, people get turned on. Under the wrong context, people get very turned off. And in a vulnerable state, like it's hard to come back from that. So we always want to be really careful. And women especially are like really worried about like putting someone off. And probably because of our high percentage of trauma. So just understand that like you being kind is a good thing, but you can practice. So 5 different initiation styles anyway, before I go off on some tangent. There's provocative seduction. I know these are backwards. I'm sorry. Provocative seduction, and that's like when you send like a sexy text or sexy pics, and you're creating tension and anticipation by sending, you know, your partner a text while they're at work. You know, wish you were here, miss the taste of you, something like that. And then there's sensual touch. And this is like when, you know, you're caressing, sensual massage and things like that. For some people, that can lead to feeling obligated. So you got to ask. That's why you got to ask. And like, you know, some people get turned off by feelings of obligation, whereas they would have been more receptive to a sexy text. It's why context is important. There's emotional connection, where you have like a vulnerable conversation with each other, and then that stirs everything up. There's sex talk, which is, you know, just dirty talk, real straightforward. But that's what I mean by like reading erotica to each other to help get your toe dipped into talking dirty. Because sometimes it can feel silly. You know, we can just feel so silly about talking dirty because we feel shame from the way we were raised, and we don't talk about sex very often. But when you start to practice talking about sex to your partner, reading erotica to each other is fun because you can laugh about it at first. Like, oh my gosh, it's so silly, it's so funny. And then you keep doing it, and then you see your partner like blush, or they start to squirm, and you're like, oh, that turned you on. Oh, that turned me on to turn you on. Oh, now I know what to say to you because we were reading this to each other. And then there's power play. Now, this one's really popular, but it can be a really big turnoff depending on where somebody is on their journey, like healing with certain types of trauma. And that's why I say you want to talk about these things first. So where one person could get really turned on by being pushed against a wall and kissed forcefully, another person could go into a freeze response. So you talk about it first. And then if you're trying to get more comfortable with initiating, it helps because you know your partner's boundaries. You're like, no, we talked about it. We were clear and transparent, so I know how far I can go, and I know what my partner likes to receive. But this book is great for that. The Awkward Month of Learning opens so many opportunities with your partner. But, like, let it be awkward, y'all. Like, not everything has to be smooth. This is not being filmed. The bullshit that you see on the movies is just that. It's bullshit. So this is the Come As You Are workbook. So in the workbook, we talk about initiation styles. In women loving women relationships, it's very common for both or one to feel awkward about initiating. So because lack of initiation, there becomes a lack of sexual activity. Lesbian couples are like the highest ranking for sexless relationships. But, you know, so that's where like lesbian bed death comes from. It's just if you've got two people in a relationship together who have a high percentage of probability of having responsive desire and not very much spontaneous desire, then it's just a natural tendency. Yeah, we do learn to perform. That's why everybody focuses on, I never know what I can say on here. Everybody's so orgasm focused, like when they have schmex, that they forget that the focus should be on arousal. Like that's the thing that I'm trying to pivot toward talking about a lot, is how we need to be arousal focused and not orgasm focused. Because being O focused takes away the arousal, and the arousal is how we get to the O in the first place. So people would have way more O's if they were just focused on how turned on they could be and how turned on the other person can be. And that's it. And then the O's would just show up because we wouldn't be like staring down at them and chasing them away by grasping. So, yeah, pleasure focused schmex. That's what needs to happen. It needs to happen for like the whole world. Yeah, it makes sense. It's like you have to stop going at it like we're procreating or something, especially if you have matching anatomy. Like that's not going down anyway. So why are we worried about popping off? It's like, it's not what it's for. He said, seriously, Masterful, awesome to watch him. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. This is my passion. I'm absolutely passionate about this. I am definitely not going to shut up about it. It's very huge. Yeah, man, like we get so caught up on O's. We feel like if we don't have them, then we didn't have good schmex. But I've talked to clients who've had like a bunch of O's and the schmex was just like, meh. Because O's are not pleasurable in themselves. Like an orgasm is not a function of pleasure. It's the context under which the O happens is whether it's pleasurable or not. Because there are like SA trauma victims who have experienced an orgasm during, this violent. I never know what I can say on here. So rape victims without the G have experienced O's, and that doesn't mean that they liked it, wanted it, or is pleasurable. It can be nauseating and painful. It's just a sudden and involuntary release of muscle tension. It's not pleasure. Oh, is a TED Talk done? I would love to host a TED Talk. It cost about $7,500 to be on TED Talk, so we could get a Kickstarter going. I don't know, like, thank you. This is great often, but need new ideas to tease during the day. Are you talking about like, are you away from each other and you're wanting to like create tension throughout the day, or are you physically within proximity with each other? Sorry, makes a difference on whether you're going to send a text or a picture or video or whatever, and then if this person is like right there and you can do something. Both. Okay. 35 years. What's up? This thing. Yeah, not pleasant. Yeah, oh yeah, no. So I'm trying to talk to the people about orgasms are not a function of pleasure. It's the context. Trying to think. And so eloquent. People gain so much. Thank you. Thank you. That's so kind. I really appreciate that. You guys are boosting the heck out of me today. I'm like very appreciative. I'd love to see it. Well, maybe I'll type up like a GoFundMe or something for that. I would love to get on there and talk about pleasure, like, and how we should all be focused on arousal instead of orgasms. I would love to just be able to say the word without getting my live band to like talking about things the way they were. Okay, so yeah, like I just always go back to reading erotica to each other. I love that one. Or listening to audio erotica together, like Dipsea, Dipsea. That's a good one. And then, man, you can't ever go wrong with a good, like, butt grab. I love those. Or sometimes I'll come and just, like, slowly press myself against the back of my partner. Not press completely into them, but just lightly just start with like the energetic presence of my body and not exactly touching them yet, but coming in enough to where their central nervous system can pick up on my proximity, coming in slowly, and then breathing on the back of the neck. So using anticipation to create sexual tension. That's like my favorite. Advice for performance anxiety. You can check out my pleasure-based playlist. It has a lot of stuff on that, like getting out of your head. Because that performance mindset's going to fuck your shit up the whole time. It's a process of getting out of that, though. You've been programmed that way through the way that media sells you sex and all that. It's just all bullshit. You gotta deprogram yourself from there. Sex is playtime for adults. It's adult playtime. It's what consenting adults do for fun with each other. If it's not fun, you're in a performance mindset. You gotta get out of that. People definitely need you. Your wisdom too. I have a YouTube, but like I couldn't figure out how to, I don't know, like change my format from doing these 60-second TikToks into like talking for 10 minutes and making it engaging. You know, I understand my spicy brain folks out there. It can, if you drone on, they don't want to watch it. They won't even watch 3-minute videos here on TikTok. So it's hard to think about how to move that stuff over. Literally more than anyone I personally know. Wow. Thank you. I'm glad that you found it helpful. Doesn't my phone say about your advice about that? Yes, he likes the idea. Cool. Cool. I hope that works out good for y'all. I love that. It just gets it all out there in the open. Do you think it's okay to talk to my ex? I don't see you in a dating app because we're still friends. I mean, whatever feels good to you. Like, I can't tell you what to do with your life. Like if it feels like the pursuit of happiness for you, then yeah. But if it doesn't feel like the pursuit of happiness, then what do you think about that? So how much is okay? Because I do it a lot, and it's a lot, and I get embarrassed. It's all natural. Like, if it feels good, just get a waterproof blanket, you know. There's a guy on here on TikTok called Little Helper. He makes really cute ones. Yep. No shame. And if somebody shames you, put your pants on and leave. Like, we don't let those people touch us. We're too good for that. Recording our lives and posting it. Can I do that? Is that a thing? Like, how do I record it? Y'all are talking to like the least techie inclined person. Like, as much as I know about sex and relationship science, that's how much I do not know about how to do what you just said. Like, I'm like, how do I do that? I download the replay. Like when I close this, is that how it works? Yup. I can't finish without a waterproof blanket. Yeah, see? And if you're caught up in your head about ruining the sheets, it takes your arousal away. So good for you. Just put that down, yeah. I go to my live center. Okay. In the live center, it says, whoa. Okay. Waterproof out of my mattress. Hell yeah. Yeah, fuck yeah. Los Rolls West Side. No, yeah, you just leave. You just, yeah, like, I hate it when people take their lack of education and slam it into someone else. Like, there's such a projection of insecurity. It's just like, she could have said something like, I've never seen that so much, like, wow, or something, so many other things other than saying, you're not normal, as opposed to saying, I just did not understand that is possible. Like, get a book, read it. Willful ignorance and stabbing people with it. Like, I don't want to pick up a book and learn about the broad possibilities of human bodies, and instead I'd rather hurt your feelings. That's lazy. Word. Everybody's different. Oh no. Freezing. I got all this Wi-Fi. be doing me this way. Well, damn. I might have to go, y'all. Because it's my kid playing with Roblox, and I'm in the country, so if I turn it on data... Yeah, there's no way I've got enough bars of 4G for that. Any better? Or is it still lagging? Is it good now? Is it better? Okay. I turn the Wi-Fi off because my son's playing Roblox, so it usually eats it up. But I'm in the country, so I don't even have 5G out here. I'm like, oh, geez. Cool. I have to turn the light on. There we go. Ta-da! See, artificial lighting's never as good. I love the sun in my window. Alright, y'all. 2 seconds. Be right back. Ta-da! Okay. Oh well. What the? Okay. Cool. Talk about being able to not worry about mess. Flight sticks. How does that work? Because doesn't that disc just cover the cervix? No, you're good. Some people gush, some people squirt. Some people don't squirt or gush. It's all... If you're not experiencing any pain or infection, it's all natural. Talk about abundance, living in you strongly. Oh. Abundance is a mindset. Yeah, and... Like, there are people out there who heavily appreciate all that. And I'm one of those people, so I can totally testify for it being a huge turn on. Just find your people, honey. I was just talking about periods. Okay, cool. Gotcha. Got it. Yeah. And it's... I mean, I caution to say that because I know some people who live in situations that are like, what do you mean abundance is a mindset? And it's just like, there's a practice appreciation for what you have in the space that you have it in. And what it does is it just sharpens your awareness about getting out of the situation you're in and into the situation you want. It's not like magic, like, oh, I sit around and thinking I'm abundant. No, you sit around in appreciation for what you have, and it settles you down so that you can focus and make a plan to get where you want. So it's just mindfulness practice, way more than like, when people say manifest, I know some people think that it's like, ooh, magic. It's like, no, it's just setting an intention and using your self-awareness to create the neural pathways that help you get to where you want to go. Yeah. So if you're feeling that, if you're like saying that in your head all day, that's what you're getting wired around. So perception is something that you can shift in any direction you want to go. So if I'm looking at something this direction, then things look a certain way. If I shift my perception and I look this way, now things look different. It's just playing with mindset to shift it so that you can get more dopamine, serotonin, and like the chemicals, you know. There's like 4 things in your brain that make you feel happy. Dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and your endorphins. So make them happen. And then things shift. It's, you know, it's all in your head. I mean, you can say that if you put out positive vibes, you're going to sit back. I caution real big against positive vibes only. All vibes are worth feeling. Like, you're going to have a full spectrum of vibes. You're going to have bad days. You're going to have good days. You need to understand that the bad days, there's something that you can find in appreciation of that. There is no substitution for human touch. There's not. Schedule a massage. If you can't afford one, find a massage school. They're usually $25 an hour. Yeah, fuck toxic positivity. Fuck that shit. Are people like good vibes only? Like, I'm not a multifaceted human with a full spectrum of emotions. But no, I totally understand what you mean, like putting positive vibes out and they come back. Because your central nervous system is like a tuning fork. So your job is just to manage that thing. Like, manage your central nervous system. And you do that with like breath and movement. Whatever movement you like. You know, some people like to hula hoop, some people like yoga, some people like martial arts, some people like go for a walk. Do it. It lets things go through you. This calms and regulates your nervous system. That's you tending your vibration, you know? When people say that, like, these spiritual people are like, oh, hey Harson, how you doing? So you're like tending your vibration. You're managing your central nervous system. And, you know, that affects the vibration that you put out in the world is what's going on with your central nervous system. Don't have enough. Yeah, that's what I mean. If you already don't have enough, you got to go create it. You got to create it. So you can create dopamine by setting realistic goals for yourself. Instead of setting ones that you know that you're not going to do, you're just setting them under the auspice that setting that goal is going to spur you toward it. So now you've set yourself up to feel disappointment. I'll give you an example. I journal. I journal because it makes me feel better and it helps me keep track of myself. Do I like journaling? No, it's tedious. I don't want to do it all the time. So I don't tell myself, hey, Whitney, you're going to journal every day. Because you know what that's going to do? It's going to piss me off at myself. I'm going to end up cussing myself out. You missed it again today. So I know that about myself. So I say, Whitney, you're going to journal every 2 weeks. That's realistic. I could do that. How am I going to remember? Oh, I'll do it by the moon. So there's a full moon and a new moon, and they occur every 2 weeks. So I know I can look up journal prompts for that astrological moon or whatever. So I don't know how to keep up with the astrology. I just look it up. I say full moon, April 2022, and it tells me, oh, it's a Libra. So then I can look up journal prompts for Libra full moon. And then it's all done for me. But I get the dopamine because I set the goal and I completed it. I get it every 2 weeks. I give myself the dopamine that I'm lacking. But I don't set goals that I know I'm going to fuck up because that's going to make me feel shitty about myself, and that doesn't help. So just be honest about who you are and what you're capable of and be realistic about it instead of pushing yourself to be someone who's not you. And you can get more dopamine. It feels really good. You get a little chemical reward. You can give yourself a hug, get yourself some oxytocin. You sit there and just like squeeze your own arms. Or schedule a massage. Like I say, go get touch. That's oxytocin. Serotonin, go lay out in the sun. It's spring on my side of the globe, so go outside and lay down in the sunshine. Or pet a dog or a cat. Give yourself the endogenous drugs that you crave.
I'm gonna steal this guy's car.
It's good shit. You're not a stone, man. If you don't like where you are, move. If you keep doing the same things you've always been doing, you're going to get the same thing. I guarantee it. Man, I'm hungry. I had some tiki masala earlier, but it wasn't very much. I have low expectations, so it's good. Yeah, man, just like utilize those low expectations. Be like, realistically, I'm not going to do the dishes every day. So I'm going to make a plan to do the dishes once a week because, the sink's full by then. It's gross. So I'm going to do it. And then when like the sink's clean, just stand there and look at the clean sink and feel the dopamine that you give to yourself. Like, and stop being like petty and then being like, all I did was clean the dishes. Like, be celebratory about that shit. I did those fucking dishes. It's what I do. It's what I do, Like, celebrate your shit. Night. Thanks for popping in with me. But yeah. Yes. I wash dishes. I don't do them every day. I'm not. I'm trying to live my life. I'm not trying to be disappointed in myself because I don't act like the domesticated goddess that, somebody else thinks I should. Yeah. Be happy. Be proud of yourself every time you do something. I reward myself every time I do some shit around the house. Tell yourself you're a freaking rock star. You do what you always done. Yeah. You always end up the same place. Like, how you going to end up anywhere different? You can do shit different. Like, just be real with yourself. Go to work. Thanks for coming. I appreciate it. I'm about to go find myself something to eat. I'm hungry. Yeah. So I have plants around my sink to encourage me to do my dishes. I have like a zuzu tree and like all kinds of plants, like succulents and orchid and hyacinth, that makes me want to be there. Because if I had to just sit there with nothing else. So like I'm more apt to take care of my plants than clean the dishes, but I won't take care of my plants with the dirty dishes there because I love my plants. So you just gotta like really get to know yourself and figure out how to trick yourself into doing the things that need to get done. Like, you don't have to sit around and talk shit to yourself. You can be kind and just meet yourself where you're at. My son's playing Roblox in his room. Memories you make or how clean your house up. No doubt. Yeah, for sure. It's the best way to reconnect with someone you haven't talked to in a while. I don't know, but Lisa, how do you know if you're gay? Well, honey, you're the only one who could know that. What makes you feel tingly all over? What context makes sex worth wanting to you? And if you don't know the answer to that, then go out to the world and read some erotica. Because you can put yourself through like experiences without having to involve another person. And just ask yourself what makes you feel tingly all over. What makes you feel like, yes, I want to do some spicy time with somebody. Like, what would make it worth wanting? I've been said sometimes it's hard to keep everything in order, but I'm proud of myself to do it. Hell yeah. Celebrate it. Dopamine feels good. Give it to yourself. Oh, enjoy your day, darling. Thank you. I hate the dishes. Yes, I know. So I have a dishwasher to hide my dirty dishes in, Yeah, I like the book called Wet for lesbian erotica because it's true stories. And it's like a collection of short stories. And it's called Wet. I like that one. A bunch of rock stars in the house. I love it. Yes. Hey, Audra, how are you, Queen? I hope you're having a good day. I've got to stop drinking that iced coffee, y'all. I'm going to be up way too late. I have to stop. It tastes delicious, and I can't stop myself. Yeah. I can put these books back on the shelf. Yeah, I'm super excited. I love those questions. I got them all answered today, but I'm going to think about them a lot more because it really got me going. I appreciated that a lot. Y'all should go over and follow Anjua on her page. She teaches female sensual movement, and that's heavily empowering. Y'all know, you hear me talk on here all the time about how to take your autonomy back and get in your body and have fun and be curious about your body to be better receptive of pleasure. So you should follow her because her content's going to be very helpful to you. If I get aroused by lesbian books, does that mean okay? Not necessarily. Not necessarily. You could just enjoy the context of that. A lot of times, and I don't know, I'm just going to say, if you were born a woman and you find yourself drawn to lesbian erotica, it could just mean that you like the context of consensual things happening between two people who actually are turned on by each other. Right. I love it. It inspired me to make more content, so I really appreciated the questions. They honed in on some things I feel are pertinent, so it was awesome. It's just like when lesbians like to watch two gay men having schmex. Like, I like to watch that. That context is very sexy to me, but I would never want to be involved with that. Like, I would never want to have sex with two gay men, but I do like to watch it as like porn. It's very arousing because it's two people who look like they're very into each other, and that context turns me on. It's not so much the people who are doing it, it's the energy being created, is that they have a lot of desire for each other, and that is very erotic. So it's not always necessarily that like what you're watching is an indicator for your sexual orientation. It depends on what context of it is what is giving you the arousal. And like, if you were born a female, your erotoplasticity is much more broad than a male brain. That's just the way we're wired. That's why we're more drawn to like audio erotica or reading erotica as opposed to watching a video. But yeah, it's very layered. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But I've seen quite a bit of those TikToks where lesbians talk about how they like to watch gay male porn. God, I hope I don't get in trouble for that. So it's a thing. I thought, I was like, oh, I'm not alone. But like, once I started reading about arousal and how it works and how it goes through the process of psychological safety as the foundation, then you start to understand the inner workings of it, of what releases the brakes for an individual and what revs their gas has to do with what makes them feel safe in their body. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. Again, it's like your orientation could be more layered than that. But I love it. I'm over here trying really hard not to reach for that coffee again. I'm like, it is like 8:15. Where did I read about that particular idea? You can read about it in the book. It's called Arousal by Dr. Michael J. Bader. It's not exactly gonna. There is a section where he talks about exactly what I was talking about, but it's not like a big section. But they're small. But the main thing about that book is showing just the layers of arousal, how heavily nuanced it is. And it's not straightforward. Like, humans go about schmex like it's just pressure, friction, release. That's it. And I'm like, holy shit, there's like so much more going on than that. It is too late for a coffee. And I'm trying to cut it off. I had clients late today. I had like a 5 and a 6 o'clock that ran back to back, and I was just like drinking it through the whole thing because I have to be completely present for those things. And now I'm like, oh my God, I'm wired. It's rough. So of course I've got like 50 million ideas going through my head because I was reading the Vagina Bible before I started with my clients. And I've just got like menopause stuff in my head. Now I've got like arousal stuff going through my head. I'm so sure about being gay that maybe I'm not. Yeah, I mean, and you don't have to be sure. Let me tell you something. You don't ever have to be sure. as many people that are on the planet, that's how many sexualities there are. You don't ever have to have a label if you don't ever feel the need for one. They're just there to make you feel more seen. But if they make you feel trapped, then you should let it go. But you can literally just be sexually attracted to any individual that you are sexually attracted to. You just want to acknowledge what makes you feel tingly all over and what makes you feel like engaging in that type of activity, and not doing it out of a sense of eagerness or to prove something or to just go through an experience to see what happens, but like to be curious about something because you feel drawn to it. And you don't ever have to be like, I'm gay, I'm straight, I'm pan, I'm bi, you know, those things are just there if they help you feel visible. Sexuality is very fluid, yeah, for sure. I just started booty yoga. Booty is incredible. Booty is incredible. It's very empowering. I always feel so sexy when I leave booty. Oh, man. I feel hot. The instructor said it's extremely good for getting into. Yeah, it is. It is. I mean, any type of yoga, even these like modern offshoots of yoga is going to help. Yeah, so I'm researching right now how to get a podcast started. I'm terrible at tech, terrible at it. So I'm just trying to figure out how it all works, how to get good sound quality, things like that. But yes, me and my friend Carrie talking about. It has to be about movement, yoga, and sensuality. I can talk about like, so yoga. Oops. Oh, so this is a really good book. So this is The Science of Yoga, and it's by William J. Broad, and this is just really great. It's just like very straightforward, talking about yoga and the science underneath it and the benefits of it. And one of the really big benefits to it is it stirs up sexual desire. Now, you could go about it energetically and talk about the chakras and how like we're stimulating the sacral chakra and things like that. Or you can talk about it from a very like physiological stance and just be like, okay, honestly, scientifically, trauma is stored in your musculature. So if you have trauma, it impacts your body. A lot of times it will gather in the hips just because of the way that our bodies come together. So if you're doing hip opening and you're stretching muscle, doing myofascial release and releasing trauma that has been frozen in the musculature, then you free yourself up to be more perceptive of sensation. So a lot of times when people are having trouble receiving pleasure, they're having trouble interpreting sensation. There's a mind-body disconnection. So to get the mind and body back together and cohesive and the neural pathways to be realigned, you'd need to like fire neurons a bunch of times. And you would need to release things that are frozen in the musculature out. It's all about the science, nervous system, inversion, and fashion. Yeah, I mean, that's kinesthetics. And, you know, however you want to slice it, it's like the Dalai Lama laughing because all these neuroscientists are digging up all this information and proving that mindfulness works. And Dalai Lama's like, yes, yes, please tell the Westerners about the things that we've been doing for thousands of years. But yoga in an entire, like, if you use it, it will fix a lot. So much. But it takes years of doing it before like you really have like the cathartic releases. But I changed my entire life. I've been doing it for 6 years. Changed my entire life. Which society was built to let us focus more on our bodies and sexuality? Weren't we? No, we weren't meant to hustle. We weren't meant for any of this shit. We were meant to be naked, eating fruit, and enjoying our bodies. Especially those of us who were born into like female bodies. Our entire design is made for pleasure. That's the whole point. Yeah, the book is called Arousal by Michael J. Bader. Oh, wait a minute. Are you talking about The Science of Yoga? But yeah, Arousal is the one I was talking about where you can read about how it all works up here. Amazing book. Yeah, the other one is called The Science of Yoga. Yeah, The Science of Yoga. I didn't... and see the rest. Say that medical has the same benefits to yoga. Meditation. To me, yoga and meditation are synonymous. If you're separating like the physical practice, that's asana. So yoga asana is the physical practice where you're moving the body. But when I say yoga and practicing yoga, I mean the 8 limbs. So 8 limbs is Ashtanga yoga. It starts with the yamas and niyamas, and that's how you treat yourself and how you treat others. And then the 3rd step is asana, and that's the movement of the body. The 4th is pranayama, and that's breath work. That's how you really start to control your central nervous system. Not control it, manage it when it's like overstimulated or understimulated. You can use breath to go either direction. After that, you start to step into meditation. That's dhyana, and then stepping up to samadhi, which is the 8th limb, and that's bliss state. But yeah, you have a good day too. But yeah, if you put all of that into practice, it completely changes your life. I gotta eat. I said that, didn't I? I said that earlier. It's been an hour. Okay. I'm gonna pop off, y'all, because I gotta go find some food. Oh, I love somatic. Oh, I love somatic therapy. I recommend so many of my clients to somatic therapy. It's like a huge thing for me. I'm like, I love that. It's so healing. All right, y'all. I really appreciate you hanging out with me. I'm gonna go eat. You'll have a good evening.